Good evening. My name is Victor Callender, and I'm usually associated with the Sherry Veronica program. And I am coming to you today to speak to the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Amor Motley, and two cabinet members who I am especially fond of, Kurt Humphreys and Marcia Cattle. I use these two young politicians for a specific reason because I'm going to ask them, I'm going to beseech them to introduce legislation in the Barbados House of Assembly to ensure that there is no statute of limitations on abuse of women, pedophilia, and abuse of elders. I believe that in any of these three instances where women are raped um, or abused, grossly abused physically or otherwise, and in the case of pedophilia, where children are preyed upon, and abuse of elderly folks, there should be no statute of limitations. Although I do believe that there should be a crime and punishment situation, I also too do believe in redemption, that people are redeemable, premised on what they might have done, that they could have been or should be rehabilitated. Um, I'm appealing to Kurt Humphrey and Marcia Cattle because I believe that these are two people to look at for the future in Barbadian politics. And I do believe that from a sensitivity standpoint, they care about the good of the people of Barbados. I'm not suggesting that other politicians don't, but I certainly, based on legislative process, believe that the Prime Minister does, and these two parliamentarians also do. Um, I believe that we have a pivotal role um, as citizens to play in our democratic process. Prime Minister, I believe that just as much as we have been able to lift up cricket with public service announcements and other things, we can use our national hero base, the two living national heroes and political stalwarts on both sides of the political island, Barbados, and famous sports people to enforce public service announcements relative to crime in our communities. I think that if a lot of these young people had mentors, had people that showed that they care, not just talked about caring, but showed that they care, that would go a long way in the decrease of criminal activity in Barbados. I know that unemployment is high. I know a lot of people out there looking for advantages as far as work advantages and other things. But each one reach one, each one teach one. I believe that if we're able to put our hands around the shoulders of young people and allow them to know that as older people or people, anyone in the community that is makes themselves accessible, that we can make a difference in really stemming crime in Barbados, especially crime against women and the elderly and children. We came a long way. And I believe that right at our footstep, right at our feet, is the ability, if used right, to change the tone of the country into a positively reinforced environment. I believe that Barbadians should undergo a period of atonement. We need to talk to our makers. We need to have a national day, not politically bent, but a day that's country bent, where we spend some time asking ourselves, what is our destiny for the future? Where are we headed as a people in the 21st century? We, Prime Minister, can reach out to young people, make ourselves accessible, have your political assistants and the political assistants of members of parliament be accessible to a young man or a young woman who feels left behind, that person can have a pager system where they can page and say, I feel like I want to go out there and do something that's criminal. I had a pager number of a mentor that I could reach, whether it be a school teacher, a cleric, somebody in the from the financial community, whomever, that they can go out there and reach, and it makes a difference in their lives. Prime Minister, ministers, Humphrey, and we had those mentors when I was growing up in the 70s. I had teachers, Tony Olton especially. I want to name him because he was my favorite teacher at Ellerslie Secondary School. And I want to call upon Mr. Olton's name because he made a difference. He saw in each and every one of us that he taught that we, fast forward to now, could have done something with our lives. He encouraged some of us out of his own pocket as a teacher. When we couldn't afford bus fare to go to the Toastmasters up there in Christchurch in the 70s when I was a kid. Some of us, we didn't have the ability sometimes to eat. And this man would dig into his pocket and make a difference in children's lives. I believe that Barbados still possesses people who care, and who care a lot, who care mightily. Parliamentarian, minister, Cattle. I forgot your name. I had a brain freeze just now. To mention you in there, I think that the three of you and Parliament as a whole should really consider looking at legislation that judicially puts Barbados in the pro as a forward to the con. I believe that the promise of change is so very real, so very real. If we could be a beacon for cricket, why not be a beacon for lives, for changing of lives? We've got all of these great people in Caribbean cricket and other sports and in music and other forms of entertainment that appeal to the broader section of our community. Why can't we use them in a positive way for public service announcements in order to make better the lives of Barbadian kids?
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.